Watson, and I did the January NAILPRO cover.
And I'm Jennifer Carafano, Managing Editor for NAILPRO. Thanks so much for coming, Elaine. Great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always like coming home when I get to do a cover for you guys.
Oh, how nice. Thanks so much. We love having you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what inspired your January cover nails?
Well, the direction that we discussed was the cover being in January, cold winter months, what kind of clothing options that we would have from our wardrobe stylist. We ended up doing a pink-inspired design using the pinks, whites, and silvers. And since Carrie Frost was on set, we decided to go with some pearls because they're in style this year.
Fantastic. We're always on trend at NAILPRO. That's what we pride ourselves on. So let's start from the beginning. Tell us how you put the tips on the nails today.
So I glued the tips straight on. I used a tip I actually designed that I prefer myself. It's a very pointed tip. Most people would call it a stiletto. And I find when you're doing an almond nail shape, it's easier to start with a tip that's already shaped into the shape of a stiletto, because all you need to do is really file off the point of the nail and you're already onto that almond shape. And I particularly like this tip too because it has a very good curve to the C curve of the nail. And I find some tips, if you're not careful, when you go to a stiletto tip, if they're not very well curved, they tend to look a little bit like a Dorito chip, just a triangle that's being glued on the nail. And so the great thing about this tip is it doesn't look like a Dorito chip.
I know after you glued the tips on, you did quite a bit of filing. So tell us why filing is so important.
Normally with these tips, because they are so thin, I don't have to do any filing. But again, this is a photo shoot, and the camera can add 10 pounds to a person. It can add weight to a nail. So whenever I use a nail tip, I always file the tip much thinner than normal. I blend it just so that as I'm layering all the product onto the nail, I'm not adding more weight to the nail, so that once we get to the end result and we're on camera, the nails don't look like big old fat heavy chiclets.
So we got the filing down, and then we went with a gel product. And so once you had the nails cured and ready to go, let's talk about how you put the design on the nails, because there's a marbleizing technique that you used. Let's hear about it.
Instead of going with just a traditional marbleizing where you would layer colors or do lines of colors and drag through them to get sort of that feather or I don't know, curvy design, what I did was I put blobs of color in different locations of the nail, and then I took a soft-haired, detail brush, and I just started doing little circles through all of the colors and getting them to kind of meld together, almost giving it a feathery appearance so that it didn't look like a traditional drag through, but it looked like the colors were flowing into each other in these beautiful feminine curves. And by using the mix of colors, I have cream colors, I have glitter colors that are so fine that when they do come together, they have a really feminine pattern to the nail. I think is a better version of marbleizing, maybe a more modern, feminine version of marbleizing.
So after we did the marbleizing, you cured the nails, correct?
Yes.
And then you went on to put pearls on. So let's talk about that process.
I'm really glad they're back. I think pearls are, again, right on point with my feminine sort of flow to this color and design. I think that the addition of the pearls in appropriate places, not completely covering the nails, but going softer. Coming in today and it being a NAILPRO cover shoot, I really wanted to take the focus back to the structure of the nail. Nail art's so popular right now, but we are doing this for a pro cover. And so I still wanted to inspire the technicians that, the structure of the nail is still an important part. It's the cake. The nail art's the icing. So when I did these pearls and crystal AB stones and some little metal domes, I tried to put them in places that they didn't add heavy weight to the nail. So you'll find them, coming across the nail at, curves and coming down the center of the nail and not along the outer sides of the nail to make the shape heavier. I wanted to keep the shape slender. So you'll find when you're looking at the nails, most of the heavier stones are closer to the center of the nail than on the outside of the nail, keeping that feminine shape.
The design is even more special because it not only is pretty on top, but also underneath. Talk to us a little bit about that choice.
Yeah, one of the fun things about going back to long artificial nails is we've got some space on the back. That's real estate. And nail art being so popular, I have started to add nail art to the back of the nails. So in keeping this design a little bit more busy on the top with the pearls and the stones, I decided to take one of the colors that I used in that swirling design, a silver, and I painted it on the backs of the nails. It's kind of hard sometimes for them to get caught in the photography because it's always about what's going on at the top of the nail. But there's always like a thumb or a pinky that seems to always have the back that shows. So I thought it would be fun to throw some art on the back of it with this silver color in the hopes that, if a back side of a nail is shown, that you would have a little surprise there in the design.
Well, Elaine, thank you so much for taking the time to come in today and to do the nails and to speak with us. It's always so much fun having you in the office. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor, and I'm always so happy just to come and play for a day. It's great.